Last fall, as part of Operation Riptide, Valve set out to solve a long-standing grievance with one of Counter-Strike's oldest and undoubtedly most iconic maps. Now, the fix was simple. Allow CTs to safely cross mid-doors from spawn by erecting a measly, seemingly innocuous overhang that blocks it. The issue is that, as far as anyone can tell, that one overhang ruined everything. With Ts unable to move anywhere, the A1S mowing them down whenever they do, and the map's pick rate plummeting, everyone's kind of wondering the same thing. Did Valve ruin Dust 2? Alright, so, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications. That's it. That's all I got. I have to fill more time? Oh, alright. Here's a clip of me being Kenny S real quick.
They need to go big, and Kenny's gonna go ahead and peek in a second minute, and he gets the flick on his Zipnix lightning fast!
Okay, so unless you've been living under a rock for the last 6 months, you are surely aware of the fact that about 6 months ago, the CSGO devs implemented what is quite literally the first real, substantial, structural rework that Dust 2 has ever seen. If you would like to learn more about how and why Dust 2 went 20 years without a rework, and just the history of this absurdly popular map, be sure to check out the story of We Did on it. It is a stellar piece of media, and I say that without a single trace of bias, even though I wrote it. So what was the grievance I spoke of? Well, it is safe to say that everyone, and I mean everyone, from silvers to seasoned professionals, have at some point in the past 20 years experienced said grievance. I am of course speaking of the infamous and iconic mid-doors spam.
Nico will start him off, Rain and Brokey to finish. Question is, can they actually get a kill initially? Yes, they can. Come on, guys! Come on!
For those who don't know, Dust 2 has always been structured in such a way that the CTs couldn't leave the right side of their spawn without crossing mid-doors. This meant that in order to do so safely, they'd have to jump, juke, or ideally burn a smoke, which, let's be honest, was stupid. So after eons of annoyance, the CSGO devs decided to do something about it. And as mentioned at the outset, the solution was very simple. Insert a visibility inhibiting overhang, which if you haven't laid eyes on, is essentially a non-wall bangable connector type thing. Did it prevent the Ts from spawn scoping down mid? Not really. Did it turn Counter-Strike's most traditionally T-sided trouncing grounds into something a little less oppressive for defenders? Oh yeah. Did it upend the map and turn it into a needlessly punishing hellscape for Ts? Pretty much. Now, to be fair, for those who've been paying attention and playing Counter-Strike regularly for the last 6 months, this isn't news. Very soon after the rework, countless competitors and casters and community figures took to Twitter to voice their criticisms and complaints about what a big deal this was actually going to be. For starters, Ts have to drop suicide to spot both the doors themselves and the mid to lower ton sprint, which means the CTs have an insane amount of freedom when it comes to denying map control early on, because the Ts still need to try their luck long if they want a refined way to finish the round. And if they don't, then, well, this happens.
It's coming his way, one, maybe even more. Zaiwu knocked down the door, needs more. Apex finally silences him, but Boomich, that's high impact, 2 rounds in a row.
And if and when the Ts finally do get said control, it's usually at the cost of a ton of time and some bodies, and they've achieved what is essentially the bare minimum. Also important to note that the Ts are doing all of this against the new and improved laser beam that is the A1S, which was also buffed about 6 months ago. In case you've been out of the loop as of late, the silencer is back, and it's basically a death ray. There! Did you see it? Run back Kyojin's draw animation. Slowly. See how the homie starts unequipping the silencer by mistake? I've been saying for ages that they need to give that shit a separate keybind, and no one has taken me seriously. Y'all trying to gaslight me into thinking you have to be a Nova to fat finger your right click, all right? But there you have it, on the main stage of a major. I'm all worked up now, all right? You happy? Anyway, this is all to say that Dust 2 is definitely undergoing some tough scenes right now. The pros seemingly detest it, as evinced by the fact that if you look it up on HLTV, you will see that over the past 6 months, its pick rate has dropped faster than an AK in the vicinity of an A1S. But shit, don't take my word for it. Listen to my close personal friend Eric Flom explain to you just exactly how this map has turned into a cesspool of force buy driven despair.
Flom does look like my high school janitor. The f is that, man?
Sorry, wrong clip. Must have popped that one in by accident.
Dimitri, dude. Hey, Dimitri, I will fucking ban you, bro. I swear to God.
I clipped that like 7 months ago, and I've just gotten so much mileage out of it since. Anyway, here is the actual explanation.
Coin flip long is all you can do. You can't even rush B without getting killed by a guy lower. You actually didn't prevent people from getting sniped on cross. You just made mid entirely way too easy for CTs. You slowed down a map that isn't tactical. So you basically didn't change anything with the map except give CTs more space and more areas to disrupt. You emphasize the worst thing about the map, which is the fact that long A is a coin flip and the most important part of Dust 2. And you've slowed down a map that doesn't have any tactical depth to it besides baiting rotates after cat control.
So yeah, memes aside, it does seem as if the Dust 2 changes just sort of definitively suck. It's obviously still relatively early, and we may still see teams sort of innovate ways to circumvent the rework, but until that happens, or until Valve decides to revert the changes or make new changes, and it's Valve, so who knows if and when that'll happen, the map isn't likely to see a ton more action. Is Dust 2 dead? No, it's Dust 2. You can't kill Dust 2. But will it remain unpopular and maybe even out of commission for the foreseeable future? I don't know. I hope not. I've always been a really big fan of Dust 2, and I'd sooner rather see Mirage or Inferno take a hit than the good old Dust Bowl. For now, we'll just have to wait and see what teams do with it, and by extension, what Valve does with it. Do Valve revert the changes? Do they implement new changes or replace the map altogether with, say, Tuscan? I don't know. But it's interesting to see the Counter-Strike map pool on such a weird precipice. There's sort of this like old adage in gaming. It like transcends esports. It's like just a gaming thing where like, if there's a map maker that exists, like if you can make a map in a game, Dust 2's in it. Like you can play Dust 2 in Fortnite, you can play it in Minecraft, you can play it in Rocket League, you can play like whatever. Like someone has made a Dust 2 like in like literally every game imaginable.